Happy Friday, everybody. Chene Agwumake in for Jalen Rose. Chene, thank you so much for doing the show today.
Thank you for having me, buddy.
And I'm so glad that you are on the show because sometimes things happen in sports that you can really only understand and explain if you played the game. And for that, we need you to take us behind the curtain. Thursday night football last night was pretty boring. I'm going to be honest. It was a pretty boring game. The Browns were ahead. I was starting to fall asleep. And then this.
Rules. There are rules of engagement for fights. Now, it is not fair to say, we don't want fighting, right? Like, we all feel like in sports, we're not trying to go out there and, throw hands and stuff like that.
Of course.
But if you think about the situation, there's emotions, there's physicality, and things happen. Now, this was not cool just because you cannot use what was meant to protect you as a weapon, your helmet. Like, that's not fair. I feel like everyone is off guard when they're not looking, when they're not prepared. Unfair fights. Fair fights are when it's a level playing field. You throw that helmet down and then you can sort of scrap, one-on-one. When it's a double team, that's when it becomes unfair. But yeah, this was something you don't want to see, but it did get my eyeballs on the game.
It did. And I think there's a couple things that we need to say here. With Myles Garrett, he does have like an impulse control problem. He's a bit of a habitual line stepper. This is not new for him, which I think will be taken into consideration when the league decides to suspend him, which they will. Because Myles Garrett has kind of played past the whistle a few times in his short career, and this is one time that it was. That being said, Mason Rudolph tried to rip his helmet off.
Yep.
And I feel like if Mason Rudolph never tries to rip off Myles Garrett's helmet, Myles Garrett never tries to rip off Mason Rudolph's helmet. Do you think that is the reason that my nose is on the side of my face? We're going to move on. Paul George made his debut with the Clippers. He scored 33 points. Not just 33 points, Chene. 33 points in 24 minutes.
Yes.
How do you come back after 2 shoulder surgeries and score 33 points in just 24 minutes?
I mean, I feel like this was low-key. I know we've been talking about Kawhi Leonard and load management, but this was sort of Paul George load management by missing 10 games because he looked good. He almost looked too good. Like, he was ready.
Yes.
We're like
where were
this
y'all
is
a
the
week
plan.
ago? Yeah.
We're going to get you playing 70 games this year, maybe 68 instead of 70. But what I really liked about Paul George, I know he had some shine in Indiana as a number 1 option, but like for a championship team, if he's your number 2, that's like the best case scenario. Because like you mentioned, he went 10 for 17, 33 points in 24 minutes. If you can get that kind of low-key, silent killer production, that's what Kawhi normally gives you as your number 2 option. That's good. Granted, the Clippers lost. Yeah, that stinks against the Pelicans. But if you look at the supporting cast, Montrezl Harrell was giving you almost 30. Lou Will giving you almost 30. These guys are going to be contenders in the end because you have Paul George at number 2, Kawhi at number 1, plenty of bench production. So this is a team that even though they took an L today, it's like they're building their chemistry and getting all the pieces healthy at the right time, and that'll become May, June.
See, I think that's right. Like, I don't think we've seen the real Clippers yet because we all know the Clippers are going to be championship contenders. But when you look down, they're 7-5.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a great record. Have they underperformed your expectations up to this point?
I don't think they've underperformed their expectations because I think they're playing a different game. They're playing chess, not checkers. Yes, I know you want the seeding to be correct. You want them to be number 1 or number 2, not fall down to number 3 or number 4 where you're on the road in the Western Conference Finals. But yeah, I think it's going to take a while for them to all get their pieces together, and I think they're playing the long game. Let's get them in January and February, not necessarily November and December. So yeah, they're going to have fresh bodies, and that might matter better than home court advantage.
I think that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are one of the best dynamic duos in the league, but I think an underrated dynamic duo in the NBA, Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. Kristaps made his return to MSG, and he was booed like he was on draft day. And to be honest, he kind of deserved it. But Luka Doncic did his thing. Luka had 27, 10, and 9. Kristaps Porzingis played pretty well. They did take an L to the Knicks, but who wants to talk about the Knicks? They're trash. I say that this dynamic duo is the most complementary dynamic duo that we have in the league, maybe second to LeBron and AD. Do you think that they are one of the most complementary dynamic duos?
I would flip-flop that. I would have AD and LeBron James ahead of them just because their pick-and-roll game cannot be guarded. Everyone did not really expect LeBron James to average a triple-double almost and lead the league in assists. He's doing that not from the shooters, what we expected, right, with like Danny Green shooting and Kuzma finally out there shooting from the outside. He's doing it with the pick-and-roll game. But in fairness, the reason I wanted to watch that Thursday night football game, but I couldn't because of the Knicks-Mavs. The game was actually super fun. And I was just saying on Twitter, I was like, man, I really feel for Knicks fans, like, especially this week, the tumultuous nature of the press conference. And then, maybe we're going to fire Coach Fizdale. And then all of a sudden you get a big game, you get Porzingis back, and then they win. Like, what? That, for me, it was a roller coaster of emotions for just 1 week. I was like, how do you survive a lifetime of being a Knicks fan? Like, to me, that's just kind of crazy. But they are complementary. Tough. You're correct. I like the matchup, that they posed together. Luka is just tough. He like rattled off three threes from the same spot. Porzingis had like the best way to end a quarter. He struggled in the first half, then he went in and had this monster dunk to end, the third quarter, and it was sort of like, dang, it's like looking at your ex and like, oh, you look good. It's not fair.
So Janae, I'm gonna call you out live on national television.
Okay.
You kind of forced your way off a team in the WNBA before, and you had to return and play there. What's it like? What's that feeling going back into that arena that you kind of left behind?
So I wouldn't say forced. Maybe I boxed out. Cleared the lane a little bit. See, the difference is a lot of people didn't understand at that time it was really for work-life balance. Again, like here, I'm on the West Coast. Those 7 p.m. games or 10 p.m. games, like it just was so hard for me to manage everything, family and then work. But that's a conversation for another day. When I went back to Mohegan, I get exactly what Kristaps Porzingis went through, just because I think it took him like 2 quarters or so. He was like 1 for 10 to start the game because you're nervous and you're anxious. You know that's like an arena not necessarily full of great vibes. They're booing you and it's loud. But then it's sort of your competitive instinct sets in. And so, yes, I got booed. I got booed not only in the regular season, I got booed in the playoffs. We lost to my former team. It hurt. But shout out to the Connecticut Sun because their culture, something I was a part of was tremendous, and their women's basketball fans, like some of the best in the world. So I'm not mad at getting booed. And I think I was sitting on the jump and Scottie Pippen said, hey, if they're booing you, that means they care. And so that's the same. The only thing is you sort of wish you walked out with a win if you're Porzingis and myself, but maybe it's a long-term win at life.
It is time for News That Matters. Yale scientists have restored brain functionality inside of pigs that were dead. Chiney Ogwumike, would you like your brain to be brought back to life when you pass away?
In my Jalen Rose voice, not gonna be able to do. I don't want those problems. Not gonna be able to do. I don't want those problems. I really don't. Like, God grant me, please, a long life, but don't bring me back and then just activate my brain just for, like, scientific tests. And it's a pig. Like...
I know.
No.
Those pigs aren't the only things that have been brought back to life. So has Carmelo Anthony's career. We'll discuss that right after. Chiney Ogwumike in for Jalen Rose on Jalen Jacoby, coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport District of Manhattan, and brought to you by delicious Heinekens. Chiney, huge news in the NBA. Carmelo Anthony is back. He is signing a non-guaranteed contract with the Blazers. What do you expect to see from the Hall of Famer?
I expect to see instant buckets. Welcome back. You know that song, Mace, like the old classic? That's him, Carmelo Anthony. I'm really excited for him to be back in the league. It's about dang time. The Portland Trail Blazers really need him just because health has been an issue with Zach Collins and even Rodney Hood. They're off to their worst start in the Damian Lillard era. So this is a boost for them. They've co-signed on wanting him on the team. So I'm happy. This is a good landing spot for Carmelo.
Are you a little concerned about him defensively?
Not at all. This team just needs to outscore people just because that's their best bet between CJ and Dame, one of the best backcourts in the league. Dame is giving you 30 points per game. He's not giving you any cause to hesitate. Like, why have they had a slow start? Melo needs to be there, and I think they can bring life, and hopefully that will bring some more wins.
Well, the Suns have had a hot start. And Chanae, I'm going to say something that I might regret.
Ooh.
I don't think it's a fluke. I really don't think it's a fluke.
I agree.
The Suns are now 7-4, and they beat the Hawks, and they're doing all of this without DeAndre Ayton. Chanae, do you think the Suns are going to be one of those teams that starts hot and then flames out, or do you think this is for real?
I think this is for real. The West is just unreal. Wild, Wild West, my Will Smith voice. Devin Booker is really, with the wins now for sure, looking like an all-star. Kelly Oubre has been the difference maker. Once he got
really
traded
has.
there, Wade Poppy has been killing. Aaron Baines is making the most of his opportunity. So I like the squad. Shout out to Monty Williams. You wonder why so many people were coveting him this past summer? Well, this is why he makes them believers. Shout out to the Valley Boys.
And also Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio's out here with something to
Frank
prove.
Kaminsky.
And like they've got all these players that people kind of forgot about or disrespected or thought were washed up. Like Dario Saric is out here like, I'm not that old.
Yeah.
And I can get buckets.
Yeah.
Dario Saric played well last night against the Hawks. They've been doing well. I think the Suns will keep this up. But you know what season it is, right?
What is it, cuffing season?
It's Jacoby season. My man, if you don't know, you should know. Kobe White's real name is Alec Jacoby White.
No way.
And my man
I don't believe
keeps
it.
getting buckets. He had 26, 5, and 3 last night. Sure, they lost, but it doesn't matter. It's Jacoby season. Have the Bulls found a superstar with the number 7 pick?
I wouldn't say a superstar, but
What?
they actually have life. I know you're biased because of Jacoby, the name, which that shook me first and foremost. I call you Jacoby because it's, that's you, that's your lane, and he's Jacoby.
Proper. Yeah.
He's Jacoby. But even, busting onto the scene after having 7 threes in the fourth quarter, like he's putting the whole league on notice. So I sign off of this.
20-second timeout. Wait a second. Did I just lose my own name to a dude who's only played 10 games in the league?
The melanin, I call him Jacoby. Without, with less melanin, you're Jacoby.
You just hurt my feelings. You just hurt my feelings. Honestly, I didn't think you were going to hurt my feelings like that.
My number one goal is to put you in the hot seat because that's all you try to do to me. Make me sweat.
All right, Chini.
Oh.
You know what? It is time to
Chinenya.
put you in the hot seat.
You
It
remember
is
my
time
full
to
name?
put you in the hot seat. Yeah, Chinenya Ogumake.
Chinenya Joinena Ogwumike. Say it right.
It is time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
Well, the Cavs are trash. But they do have a nice young backcourt with Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. You changed my name. Well, the Cavs fans love this backcourt so much, they gave them a nickname. Do you know what that nickname is?
I'm afraid of it.
Sexland. Darius Garland and Colin Sexton are now Sexland. Are you ready to embrace Sexland?
I am here for Sexland because they're bringing life. They're bringing new energy to Cleveland. So I'm done. I can't with this topic.
It is the Don't Get Fired topic of the day. It is the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
Energy.
When we said Sexland and you said they're bringing life, I was just like, oh God, I don't even know what I don't think she knows what she just did.
I know.
I am
I'm literally about to start sweating.
I'm so excited for Sexland. And when we come back, we will tell you the story of a Texas family that was told to take their holiday decorations
Not mine.
down. We'll tell you why. NBA action tonight, starting at 8 p.m. on ESPN. We have the Utah Jazz going up against my guy, Ja Morant, and the Grizzlies. And after that, in the nightcap, Kemba Walker and the Boston Celtics head to the Bay, EA, to take on Draymond Green and the Warriors. College basketball, Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. on ESPN. We have Florida against UConn. And tune in tonight at 6 p.m. Sports Center, we'll be talking about my guy, Ja Morant, and Tom Brady's
So basically,
Super
don't
Bowl
sleep. So many good games.
revenge. Don't ever sleep, and don't sleep on my co-host today, Chanae Ogwumake, who is from Houston, Texas. So you know we're going to talk about the Houston Rockets. James Harden and the Rockets play the Pacers tonight, and I feel like everybody that loves the NBA loves to talk and criticize about their style of play and the way that James Harden isolates. But do you know what they keep doing? Winning and winning and winning. What do you think about those that criticize the Rockets' style of play?
being that I'm from Houston, Texas, I have seen the highs and the lows of this Rockets team, but I think that this is the best version of the Rockets just because before they lived and died by the three, and they often died. They've sort of departed from that style by bringing in Russell Westbrook. Last season, the Rockets were 27th in the NBA in pace. This season, they are first in the NBA in pace. That's all the Brody. That's all Russell Westbrook. So yes, they might die often by not shooting threes, but I think they're weathering that storm. Before it was like, Houston, we have a problem, but now it's sort of like liftoff. You've got James Harden that's averaging, 37 points, almost 40? It's just crazy. But yeah, the question was shooting. Will they have enough shooting? It doesn't matter when you have a guy that changes the entire outlook of the team just by running up and down the court, and that's Russell Westbrook. So that helps.
I always say that action speaks louder than words. And when I'm sitting on my couch and I've got the remote control in my hand and I'm on League Pass, I gravitate towards the Rockets every single night. I just want to watch James Harden play basketball. He's an absolute wizard. He is a magician. You cannot double team him. You can shade him to the right. You can let him drive. You can let him shoot. You can do whatever you want, and he keeps scoring. How do you stop James Harden from scoring?
You don't. I mean, he had 47 on the Clippers, and the Clippers have the best defender, arguably, on the perimeter, and Kawhi Leonard. He had 47. They had Patrick Beverley, and he still had 47. You can't stop him. I think what you have to do is stop the others. You have to make sure that they have a poor shooting night, that Clint Capella does not go off. But then again, this is a team that sort of remolded themselves just by bringing in Russell Westbrook, because he may not shoot, but he'll get you easy baskets north and south. One of the best rebounding point guards, if not the best rebounding point guard in the association.
One thing, you forget they have Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler's falling into buckets. James Harden's just Tyson Chandler just falls into 8 points from James Harden.
Sort of like Dwight Howard.
He's so good. He is so good. It is now time for Soft Move or Boss Move. It's starting to get cold out here in New York City, Janae. It is starting to get cold, and it's starting to become the holiday season, and there's something happening in your home state of Texas that we must discuss. A homeowners association got together and demanded that a family take down their Christmas decorations because it was too early. Demanding a family take down their Christmas decorations, soft move or boss move?
That is a boss move by the homeowners association, just because there's so many debates about when you can have Christmas, decorations up. Boss move by the association, also boss move by the family, because I think they're filing an appeal. The wife in this family is pregnant, and she said, y'all, I'm supposed to pop the baby out in a month or so. I don't have time to do these decorations. I'm doing them now. So I am really invested in seeing who will win.
I love this too. First of all, I'm not used to having a co-host as prepared for the topics as you are, and I really appreciate it. Second of all, it's a soft move making his family do this. The wife is pregnant. She's going to have a child. She's just thinking ahead. She's like, look, I'm going to have this brand new baby. I'm not going to be able to put these lights up. I'm not going to be able to do this. So let me put them up now. I think it's a soft move to make them take them down. But I would never, ever, ever, ever in my whole entire life put up Christmas decorations until after Thanksgiving. I just would never do it. I would never do it. Do you decorate your home in Los Angeles?
First of all, I don't decorate my home. For who? For me, myself, and I? No, I will probably get a little mini Christmas tree, but everyone knows we're going to be working on Christmas Day. Yeah, fake one for sure.
Thank you so much for joining me on Jalen Jacoby. We'll be back on Monday, ESPN 202. Have a good weekend.
Always a pleasure.